Hello, Colin Hung here for Healthcare IT Today, and I'm about to head into the technical exhibits area of RSNA 24 here in Chicago, Illinois. At the very back of the hall, I stumbled upon a very interesting company that I'm excited to give you more details on. The company is called Akumin, and they make a mobile unit that can be used for CT or for MRIs. Their mobile units are not like the ones that we normally picture in our head. It is not a tractor trailer that happens to have an MRI machine in it, and it's not one that you have to climb up into. Akumin's mobile unit is much nicer and feels more like a permanent installation. I'm about to visit with Josh Seyler, Senior Director of Remote Scanning from Akumin. He's going to give me a tour of their unit and talk to me about the unique Akumin Command Center. Let's get to it.
My name is Josh Seyler, Director of Imaging and Remote Scanning at Akumin. Akumin is a multifaceted company. Half of our business is surrounding our outpatient imaging centers with over 150 imaging centers, oncology centers. As part of our outpatient imaging business, we have MRI, CAT scan, PET CT, X-ray, bone density, mammography, and all of those modalities. Within our outpatient imaging centers, we have a solution where we are able to solve some of our staffing challenges by using remote connections to our equipment so that we can remotely operate many of our scanners to bridge the gap of the staffing challenges that I think everybody is experiencing today, right? If you talk to anyone in the United States, even outside in Europe and in other countries, what everyone's experiencing is there's a shortage of X-ray technologists, right? There's a shortage of experts that know how to do specialty exams. So these are some of our challenges, and we're starting to use our digital footprint and our IT to be able to integrate our scanners all together on one network so that we can solve our staffing challenge, and we'll show you some of that in a little bit. So half of our business in our outpatient imaging space, the other half is in managed services, right? So managed services for Akumin is you want to provide radiology exams for your ordering physicians. That is accomplished through equipment and staffing. So as part of our business model, we provide whatever you need to be able to acquire those images, whether it's the equipment or the staffing or even licensures. There's a lot of areas like PET CT where you aren't able to, on your own, get some of these radiopharmaceutical licenses. We provide all of those services for those customers. How we typically have done this in the past is joint ventures. So we are in 48 states for joint ventures and partnerships. And in those 48 states, it's a varied mix of how we're helping people solve their challenges. Many times it's a mobile. You're getting a mobile PET CT brought in. Out of our over 300 mobiles that are out with our customers, over 75% are fixed, if you will, which means they don't travel, they park them and they use them as extra machines to handle their load, patient load. But if you've ever experienced a mobile solution, you're going on to get an MRI and you walk onto a trailer and it's very narrow, it's claustrophobic, and then they say on top of that, let's climb into the bore of a machine and then we're gonna make all this racket and all this noise, and then you're not supposed to get emotionally upset or claustrophobic, and you're supposed to enjoy this experience and feel like you got a great exam. Well, that's just not the case. And if you're a customer that's trying to handle your patient load and provide MRIs, PET CTs, you can only do a few patients per hour, one per hour in PET CT case, maybe two for MRI, because you're on a mobile truck without space for patients to change and get ready for their exam. Well, what Akumin has done to solve this problem is our AXIS building. And you can see it here behind me slightly. And what that offers our customers is the same MRIs, PET CTs, linear accelerators that you have in the hospital, but in an expandable and relocatable building that has all the look and the feel of a business office or a medical office. Multiple dressing rooms within it. So in the PET CAT scan world, you have a hot lab where you inject people with radioisotopes. Well, now you're radioactive. But you also have this radioisotope going through your body, and you have to sit in a relaxed state and let that radioisotope go through your system, and they call this uptake. So now you have to sit in a chair, reclined if you will, relaxed, while this is happening at a cellular level. So in our building here behind us, in the AXIS building, we have a hot lab for the radioisotope management. And then we inject the patients, and then we have 3 separate uptake rooms to let that radioisotope go through their system to prepare them to have that PET CT scan. Now, with today's modern PET CT scanners, we can do whole body in less than 20 minutes. Now we're able to, with this solution, do 3 PET CTs per hour, and the patients have the best experience possible. Hey Colin, now we're in. Right? This is the PET CT machine. This is the latest PET CT from Siemens Healthcare. And as you can see, this is a traditional size room and much larger than the mobile solutions. So as a patient, as you come in, right away you get this feeling that you're in a hospital, right? You're in a medical center having a procedure instead of on a truck or a trailer. And you may not pick it up in here, but you don't hear the loud noise like you would on a mobile truck. It's a normal, air-conditioned unit, and I think patients, as they walk in, their anxiety will come down, and they'll have a much better experience. And the reason why this is important, especially in the PET CT world, is certain isotopes that we use, let's say for like a sugar base, because cancer likes sugar, so we inject essentially a sugar radioisotope, and then it goes through your body, and then cancer metabolizes sugars faster than the rest. But we don't want people's heart rate up high so that this metabolism process is abnormal and we have false positives. So having this calming experience is really important. So Colin, as we come out of the scan room, here you can see this large center area that's surrounded by 4 different rooms. You can see here this kind of temporary coloring here. You can see this is for the expansion or the expandable part of our unit. So as we send this expandable and relocatable building down the road, it ships this size. And then once we drop it and lower it with our proprietary patented technology, then we expand out and it gives us this extra space. So in a PET CT case, we have a hot lab, which is necessary. If we were to add a bathroom, we would plumb this to the hospital for a bathroom as well. And then as we think about really helping patients have the best experience, they have their injection and then they rest in a uptake room. And here we have 3 uptake rooms. So this greatly increases our productivity and our ability to treat more patients. And then we think about what PET CT is moving toward. It's not just about the diagnosis part of it, but it's also the therapeutic part as well with theranostics. So as our future pathway of PET CT goes into theranostics, this solution is perfectly set.
So Josh, let me ask, wonderful room, very well appointed in here. Why do you think hospitals are actually going to invest in something this fancy?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, what we do know is patients in North America have an option of where they go. And if you're going to put your health trust in a hospital organization, every piece of it should match. So the care you get along the way would translate into the treatment you get and then the outcomes you get. So I think healthcare shoppers look for a better experience, and once they experience this, they realize there are better options out there. And then if you think about hospital branding or medical center branding, and is it really part of your brand to walk outside, climb up into a mobile trailer, and it's like, well, that's nice as a short term. But when we really look at space in hospitals and we don't have space to build into the hospital and we need to find space outside, this is the most economical way to have the same throughput you would get at a hospital and the same experience at the same time.
And you were mentioning before, there's a clinical element to it as well. Asking someone to climb up those steps, it increases metabolism, it gets your heart rate up, which is something you don't want as you head into the machines, right?
Especially when we use these for MRI, right? The number one reason that people avoid having an MRI is the claustrophobia. And what happens, have you ever had an order for an MRI?
Yes, I have.
Has your family come to you and said, this is going to be awful?
Yes.
Wait until you get in there. So before you even get here, your family has done a great job at really raising your anxiety level. And we find this is just part of our human experience. So if we walk in, I think as a patient, you walk into this, all of that peels away and you say, this is not bad at all. This is going to be a great experience.
And that's, yes, you can, as you were saying, in a competitive market, it's pretty important.
Absolutely.
Josh, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to you telling me more about this command center. So what is that?
I'm excited as well because this is amazing technology. If you think about somebody with the footprint of Akumin, right? Last year, we did the most amount of MRIs than anyone in the world. That's our volumes, huge volumes, right? A lot of machines. But you can imagine we have imaging centers all over the United States. Well, today, technologists migrate pretty quickly. Everyone migrates, right? If you just wanted to pick up and move from, Houston to, Boston, you can do it quickly. And this is what we find happens a lot. We just have people moving throughout the country. And once we get someone trained, then we sometimes lose them and they just move on. Now we have to look for someone, we have to hire them, we have to train them. Huge impact to our operations and our patients that are counting on being scanned. So one solution we've come up with to fix this and really ensure that every patient gets the best scan possible is we've hired dozens of expert operators. Those expert operators all have a command center, some from their home, some from one of our imaging centers where we have the extra space, and they can dial in, and right now we have over 180 scanners connected to our network. And within seconds can commandeer a scanner and operate it remotely. And because our techs are such experts, we can do all exams. So sometimes what you find is maybe a technologist at one site doesn't know how to do a liver or doesn't know how to do a prostate, and now we're challenged trying to find a place where a patient can get that done. That's been removed and no longer have that issue. We have someone that goes on vacation, right? We're not scrambling any longer. Now we can remote in. And our technologists are so adept at doing this, and they're doing this every day and multitasking, they're actually operating 3 scanners simultaneously. So this network is a simple network, believe it or not. You'd think from an IT perspective, this infrastructure has to be crazy. No, it's a software KVM switch.
Wow. And so what you're able to do is really help the organization scale. They don't have to have someone local. They can be remote. They're monitoring three different units at the same time, perhaps at 3 different sites.
Yes, absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then you think about those obstacles, simple things like just someone calls in sick that day. Or what happens when you hire someone to be on site for 8 hours? You have to pay them to be there. Well, what if that day you go down and you decide, hey, we're only going to work 4 hours today for one reason or not? You still have to pay that person for that other 4 hours. Well, with our solution, once we're done scanning for that time, we log off and it has no more cost to us. So think about, we have to add on patients. And we need to add on 2 more hours, 3 more hours in this workday. Well, I have to pay those staff overtime, and that's expensive. Well, with our remote solution, that's not even an issue anymore. So we just have someone remote in and cover that overtime and save us that cost.
You've turned operators into a utility, which is fantastic as an owner of one of these units, not having to have someone on site and,
correct,
as you say, paying them for idle time.
Yeah.
You've shared a lot of great information with me today, Josh. Where can people go to find more about Akumin?
Well, I think everybody knows the internet's the easiest way to just type in Akumin and we'll be the first search, and all of our information is there. Obviously, if you're at RSNA, our booth is crazy because the word has gotten out and it's amazing. Everyone's excited that people are thinking differently. How can we do this? And really what we're trying to do is respond to what the patients are asking for. And I think it's about time that we let technology solve those solutions that patients are asking for.
I love it, Josh. I love it. And thank you. Then for the record, it's Akumin.
Akumin, yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, Josh, thank you so much for being on the program.
Pleasure.
Hey, I really want to thank Josh for hopping on camera with me. It was fantastic for him to take that much time to give me a tour of their phenomenal unit. I was really impressed with their focus on patient experience and making sure that patients have a really good and ideal time in the mobile unit as if they were in a real facility. Because let's be honest, when you're going for an MRI or a CT, it's stressful. And it's clear to me that they put a lot of thought into the design of those uptake rooms and the design of the whole space in general, and even making sure that the people who are working in their space feel good about it. That the ceilings are high, it's well lit, it's got that special mood lighting in the MRI suite. I thought it was just incredible. Not to mention that command center and being able to turn operators of these devices into a virtual utility that can be scaled up or scaled down as needed. That can really help to address the workforce challenges, especially where it's hard and difficult to hire rad techs. And hey, if you enjoyed this interview, please mash that like button and click subscribe. Also, head over to healthcareittoday.com where you will find more great content like this. I'm Colin Hung here in Chicago, Illinois at RSNA 24. Thanks for being here, and I'll catch you on the next video.